Comedian Jon Stewart is, of course, best known for his years hosting The Daily Show and more recently as a film director. But today, he is playing lobbyist on Capitol Hill, and he is up there to push for passage of a bill that's being introduced by Senator Kirsten Gillibrand that will permanently authorize the September 11th Victim Compensation Fund. Last week, the State Department said it is running out of money and will cut benefits in half for most recipients, and anyone with a new claim is facing a 70% reduction in payouts. This is money that goes toward first responders, their families and survivors who got sick from all of the toxins at Ground Zero. It is a fight that Stewart has been backing for years, and he is joining us now along with John Feal, who is a 9/11 first responder. And John Feal, to you first, tell us what this fund does. Tell us what it's done for you, what it does for other 9/11 responders and their families, and just how bad health concerns are for this group.
Well, one, thank you for having me. Two, this struggle and the pain is real. Back in October when this announcement was made, the post-traumatic rise in the 9/11 community. Now that the deadline has passed and the policy has taken effect, post-traumatic's at an all-time high in the 9/11 community. There are men and women, uniform and non-uniform, responders and survivors that are panicking. And for many, this is a lifeline. The conversations are real. Should I put gas in the car or should I pay my car insurance? Should I put food on the table or should I pay the utilities? Congress now has something tangible to work with, and they either have the choice, a conscious choice to get on board and help co-sponsor this bill and get it passed, or they can make that conscious choice and be that guy that's not going to help, and then we're going to expose them for political malpractice and we're going to make their life miserable.
And I read that you had been to almost 200 funerals, is that right?
I've been to 181 funerals, and a lot of them were my friends that walked the halls of Congress over the last 15 years with me. You know, today's my 269th trip to D.C., and I got tenure. I got more time on the Hill than many members of Congress. And our tolerance is, our resolve has been tested, and we have a zero-tolerance policy, and we're optimistic that we're going to get this bill passed for tens of thousands of people that are relying on us.
Jon Stewart, you both have been walking the halls of Congress, making this pitch to members. What is the pitch when you're telling them what this fund does and how it needs to help people like John Feal to your left?
I mean, you don't even really have to make a pitch because the moral argument is already there. It's sort of incomprehensible that this would be something that would cause John Feal. John has half a foot and one kidney, and friends with cancer that he has to bring down here to patrol the halls. The idea that you would come down here almost 270 times to convince people of what almost seems to be a moral absolute as our duty to these first responders and these survivors. They came down to the site as fast as they could, and they stayed there for months, tenaciously searching, first as a rescue operation and then as a recovery operation, and they helped stabilize not just New York City but the entire country during that time. And they were told by the government, the EPA specifically made an announcement that the air down there was safe, knowing full well that it was not anywhere near safe. The only thing analogous to the kind of air that was down at the World Trade Center are burn pits in Iraq and Afghanistan. Those towers disintegrated on 9/11. And the first responders breathed in and ate this atomized combination of glass and mercury and asbestos and any kind of toxin that you can imagine, and began to get sick almost immediately. And certain cancers have different latency periods, and certain exposures in terms of lung disease have different latency periods. But the idea that 18 years later, they're still tugging on the hemline of the government to get this bill through and to get it funded properly and to make it permanent is truly beyond comprehension, even for a dysfunctional body. So I'm not quite sure that there needn't be a pitch.
But there has to be, right? Because the Justice Department says, you know, you've got this $7.4 billion that was allotted for the fund in 2015. It's nearly been depleted. There's thousands more claims still expected. And their approach, as we outlined, is to cut the benefit level for current recipients and for future.
The Justice Department, though, the reason that it's being cut is because of how well the Justice Department has administrated the fund. Previously, it was much harder. The wait time when you apply and the credentialing period was much more arduous. They've really, the special paymaster over at Justice has done a great job administering the fund. So what's happened is they're actually paying out what people need.
What they need.
This is not Special Master Rupa Bhattacharya's fault.
No, right. Sure, and to be
she's
clear,
doing a great job. But
yeah, and I hear.
This is the problem. This is Congress's fault because they keep insulting us, and they keep playing games and giving us 5-year bills. Cancer and respiratory illnesses have no latency. Cancer has no arbitrary date. These respiratory illnesses have no arbitrary date. In 2015, when we got this bill renewed, we got 75 years on the health care. We now have 72. But they only gave us 5 years on the VCF. We want 72 years on the VCF to coincide with the health care. And let's not kid ourselves, Brianna. None of us are going to be here in 72 years. The 9/11 community is a finite number. We're going to die off. There's other bills in Congress that are permanent, like the black lung bill and the nuclear bill, that geographically help members, coal miners in West Virginia and Kentucky. They have a permanent bill. The nuclear bill in South Carolina and Washington State and Tennessee, they have a permanent bill. Our bill, the James DeJoga Health and Compensation Act, dwarfs them. We're national. 434 out of 435 congressional districts were represented at ground zero during the cleanup and the recovery. We dwarf them. If Congress continues to play games with us, we're going to make their lives miserable. And trust me, I'm good at that.
Jon Field, tell me, because I hear what you're saying. This is not the paymaster's fault. You're blaming this on Congress, and I see that's why you're there walking the halls. But when you see DOJ as it pays this out, and it says, look, as money runs out, this is going to be cut by half. New folks applying, cut by 70%. What does that do if that goes forward? What does that do to the care of people who need it?
I tell people that are sick and affected by 9/11 to continue to file claims and continue to have faith in us, in Jon Stewart, and the men and women, uniform and non-uniform, that I take to D.C., and for the New York delegation led by Senator Gillibrand, that we are going to get legislation extended and renewed, and we're going to get 72 years, and then we want to be left alone. Because I'm tired of coming here and looking at cranky old white men who try to rule the country and are doing a really, really bad job.
All right, Jon Field, Jon Stewart, thank you so much to both of you for being on today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Brianna.
Thanks for having us.
Coming up.